Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulullah, ma ba'd, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my dear brothers and sisters in Islam. And I'd like to thank you in turn for the Qazi. May Allah bless you and your family, health and wealth, and everybody that attends here and was part of making this possible. I certainly appreciate your invitation, and I had a great time in Victoria. Beautiful place, beautiful people, beautiful company, beautiful food, beautiful weather, you name it. I mean, mashallah, tabarakallah, may Allah bless it for you here. So the topic tonight is Muslims in universities. Very difficult task indeed, but I will give you an example how not to be, and this is a true story by the way, and then the example that you should be. And then we'll tell you what the consequences of both are, and some responsibilities to be held accountable for yourself, and then what the roadmap to get there, and of course the fruit in the end. Okay, so that's basically the topic for today, and as usual we'll be asking you questions, so be ready. I'll leave the floor open for you to ask questions also, so to be fair. And I think that we have some goodies for you, Ukhti, just in case you're wondering. If you're with you will earn it, inshallah. And the competition, believe it or not, is going to be in between brothers and sisters again. So Muslims in university. So please understand the word Muslim in university. Let's talk about it. So there are two types, by the way. There are Muslim students, and there are students that happen to be Muslims. Very, very simple. You know Taliban? You know the Taliban? Yeah, they are here. Don't be worried. Don't be scared. We're not going to end up in prison tonight. I'm just talking about the linguistic meaning of Taliban, right? Two students. That's what it really means. But what are those two students, and which one are you? So we have a Muslim that happens to be a student, and we have a student that happens to be a Muslim. I'm not going to point the finger, nor I'm asking for raising your hands, nor that you should identify yourself. It's a rhetorical question, but you at least have to be honest with yourself. That's all. So are you a Muslim that happened to be a student, or are you a student that happened to be a Muslim? And you've seen it, you know them. They're around, even they pass by our tent, yeah, and they say, oh, my father was, my mother was, I used to be called, I learned about this, I heard of a man called Muhammad, yeah, I've met them myself, here. I'm not talking about other cities, that I've met to other cities too, but I'm talking about your own university, Uvic, right now. Okay, so let's take the roadmap, and before I talk about the Muslim that happened to be a student or the student that happened to be a Muslim, let's take an example of another city that a student was actually kicked out of university. A Muslim student, I have to rectify that was actually kicked out of university. Take a wild guess why he was kicked out of university. This is a Muslim student, and he was actually proud, in the wrong way, of course. Let me help you out. This Muslim student was kicked out of university for the simple fact that he used to actually put his feet in the face of the professor. The professor repeatedly asked him politely to place his foot down. He replied, my foot is clearer than your face, because at least I wash it 5 times a day, and you don't. Meaning, I wash my foot 5 times a day. He means when I make wudu, when I'm praying 5 times a day. And you don't wash your face 5 times a day. That is amazing da'wah. MashaAllah, I'm so proud of you, man. Of course he was suspended. Now, I'm not asking, nor that I'm saying that that's who you are. I'm just telling you that these type of students actually exist. Okay. That's not what I'm asking you to be. I'm asking not to be like that, of course. But you are a walking pulpit. Whether you like it or not, people see you as Islam. They don't know Islam. Look, there's so many people here don't know the ABCs of Islam. We talked about it for the 3 days that we were here. They don't even know the ABCs of Islam. And they were nice about it. And they don't even and they hear things. And there were some learned, minor people learned. And they will come and, either ask you for questions or ask you to debate you. And you get used to how to handle both. But the matter is, people are actually watching you to learn about Islam. So we're going to talk about your behavior, and that's really what I'm going to concentrate on today. I'm going to talk about the two things, shahawat and shubuhat, also, because it's important. Shahawat means your whims and desires, your lusts. The shubuhat meaning the ambiguous things about the religion. There's certain things that you actually don't know the answer for, that they may be able to nail you on. You're actually on their turf. You're an easy bait, like a prey. They actually salivate when they see you. Right? So if you don't have those two things, which I will actually allude to later on in the lecture, in the masjid, inshallah, shahawat and shubuhat, your whims and desires, your lusts, and your deen, your faith, strength of your own aqidah, your creed, then it's a different story. And why is your behavior so important? Because indeed they will not come and ask you what is Islam and how you pray 5 times and 5 pillars of Islam, 6 articles of faith, and Tawheed al-Ruhiyyah and Tawheed al-Rububiyyah, monotheism of the Godhood and the monotheism of the Lordship. And they won't ask you these things. They will just see how you actually walk the talk or not. Okay? Look, Japanese, I know Brother Akash, may Allah bless him, is Japanese. Japanese people came to Egypt. And they learned from, they went to Al-Azhar, they asked about this religion. Oh, Islam? Wow, Islam is beautiful. We want to take this back to Japan. These are true stories, by the way. It's recorded in history. And they went down the streets. They asked the people. They looked at the behaviors. But do we walk the talk? We don't. So we're born Muslims. My name is Muhammad. My name is Fatima. But do we act like Muslims? I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the general public who are actually called the hand-me-down Islam, what I call it. In so-called Muslim countries. Do we actually live Islam? Do we walk Islam? Do we do we actually have that in our genes? Act, walk, talk, behave, dress, eat, everything like? We don't. So they went down the street and it says that religion that has no effect on their people is not a good one. You understand how people perceive Islam? Is the effect on people and the behavior of the people. And that's why I'm telling people in the West, you know what? You can spend so much money putting banners up. You can invite people to come and help you in Islamic Awareness Week, and may Allah bless you for the time and effort. I'm not talking down, Allah. I travel around the world and they say the same thing. You can rent tabloids and even advertising on the, general transportation or public transportation. You can have even radio stations, TV stations. You can plug it in. You can spend the time and the effort of everything else. But if you don't walk the talk, if you don't live like a Muslim, you have wasted your time, you have wasted your money, and you have wasted your effort. As a matter of fact, you become a fitna. You become a reason for people not to become a Muslim because of you. Allahumma naj'alna fitnat al-qawm al-zalimin. Oh Allah, do not make us a reason for others not to become a Muslim. So you have to think this way. Now I'm sorry, I don't mean to throw this burden upon you, and this is the heaviest thing on me. Right? Look, so many times that I want to smack somebody upside the head. For example, today, right? There are certain things that I know that, where they're going with this. And instead of going, I have to smile and say, thank you. That's very nice of you. And it's very difficult when you hear certain things and we see certain things. Very difficult. Because your name is Muhammad, your name is whatever, maybe Fatima or is something else. So this is the difficulties you're going to go through. So you have to always think, am I going to be a reason for people to become a Muslim? Or am I going to be a reason for people not to become a Muslim? Okay. So that's the idea about it. So let's take you through a roadmap because of the time constraint. So why is it so important? Because that's what the people see. You represent Islam. Islam is you. That's it. Just wanted to say. So if we have to think that I am that brick of that building, that the enemies are trying to penetrate through me, I can't be given up. I'm going to have to hold on. As that brick puts together that defense, the wall of defense. You are an ambassador and you are a pulpit. I mean, you hear this all the time. But the fact is, that's the truth. That's the case. So now let's talk about the behavior itself. Why is the behavior so important? I'm going to have to take you to Quran and Sunnah to make you believe and understand why we actually do the acts of worship. You won't believe this, but actually behavior and a character, the moral conduct and the characteristics The ethics are more important than the ibadah. I'm not belittling the ibadah. I'm just telling you why. Okay? Before you freak out and throw things at me at this point, let's go to the Quran and Sunnah and find out, first of all, why was Prophet Muhammad ﷺ sent here? He actually said this. إِنَّمَا بُعِثْتُ. Why? I was sent. Anybody can remember the hadith? أحسنت. لِأُتَمِّمَ مَكَارِمَ الْأَخْلَاقِ. So I can perfect the moral conduct, the behavior. Okay, I'm going to take you through this journey so you'll understand, inshallah. Okay. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him a medal of honor, a wisam, what did he call him this? وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. Indeed, you are the best, the altitude, the peak, the ultimate moral conduct, the example of the behavior and the character. Good. When Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, the closest to my heart amongst you and the closest to me on Judgment Day. So the most beloved to my heart and the closest to me on Judgment Day. Who was that? The one that did qiyam during the day and siyam during the day and qiyam during the night? Fasted during the day and prayed at night? Gave his money away? Performed hajj every day? No. Who was he? Ahsant. The most beloved to my heart and the closest to me amongst you is the best of moral conduct. Okay, I'm just laying the foundation. I'm not belittling the ibadah, don't get me wrong. I'm going to give you the two schizophrenia that we have, right? A brother or sister are the best of ibadah, but terrible in ikhlaq. Great act of worship, but no moral conduct. And the opposite is true. A brother or sister that is perfect human being, about akhlaq. And when he posts this, and blah blah blah. I drink blah blah blah. And he's so just the GQ. It's just it's just the guy that's so sweet. He has his hair like this. He speaks like that. It's just perfect, man. As a human being, wow, according to the measuring stick. But he has no idea about how the acts of worship. And I'm looking for both. Yeah? Okay. So, let's say a woman, the hadith actually was saying, there was imra'ah كانت تعرف في المدينة. And Medina is the hub of Islam, man. The best of the best is there. This is why Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was alive. And he was approached and he said, there is a woman that was famous. And you understand how much you have to be famous, man? You have to do to be famous among the best of the best? He said the best of generation is mine. So we can't compete with them. But she was the best. She was famous. She used to do extra fasting during the day, prays at night, gives the sadaqah, you name it, man. Memorize this, all that stuff. But the hadith finished with what? وَلَكِنْ كَانَتْ تُؤْذِي جِيرَانِهَا. This woman, she did all this acts of worship. But what did the hadith end up with? But she used to harm her neighbor. So what did Prophet Muhammad ﷺ say? Did he say it's okay because she used to pray a lot, or she fast a lot, she gave her money away? Did he say it was okay? No? You're right. But what did he say though? Okay. Do you know what you cut some time? The reason I'm asking you a question is I want you to go, oh, he's going to be asking me a question, man, I better be listening to this. Okay. He said, لا خير فيها. That's a major, not a minor, man. He says, there is no good in her. I wish he stopped here. He didn't. He said, هي في النار. She is in the fire. But of course, the scholar says not eternally because she still said, La ilaha illallah. But why do you think a woman that was famous by doing acts of worship is going to the hellfire according to the utterance, according to the tradition, prophetic tradition, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Because she used to harm her neighbors. Why? She didn't get the fruit of the ibadah. Yeah? Okay. So let's talk about this now that we understand why. Okay? So I usually start from the beginning or the end. On this one, the end result. So you understand when I tell you about this, it's important. I'm not just telling you something that is haphazard, I'm suggesting, I'm saying I'm saving your. That's what we're doing. Okay, let's go to the Quran, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala coupled the ibadah and the akhlaq together. Okay? It's there. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Inna salata, what does it do? Tanha an al-fahsha'i wal-munkar. So the reason for the prayer was what? To do aerobics? To be flexible? Allahu Akbar. Subhanallah. Allahu Akbar. No, you're right. It wasn't just a physical ibadah. No. Indeed, you know, inna is called inna tawqeed. Tawqeed meaning certitude. Indeed, this salah, why? Why are you praying like that? It wards off evil and transgression act. For the simple fact that I mentioned earlier, because if you pray, you know, between Dhuhr and Asr, you can't just go say, Allahu Akbar, Assalamu alaikum. Okay, man, let's check out some babes down the line. We have about 3 hours till Asr. Okay, let's do some bar hopping. Let's paint the town red. Or better yet, in the meanwhile, let's rob a bank and come back. We have time for Asr. Allahu Akbar. You think you can do that? No, man. Wards off evil. Keeps you in line. Keeps you in check. Okay. So the ibadah was what? What's the illah? What's the fruit of the ibadah? Was it akhlaq? Yes, it was. Because the salah is the ibadah, and the reason for this ibadah, it keeps you in line. It forbids you to do evil and transgression act. It keeps you in line as a moral conduct. Okay, let's go to another one. خُذْ مِنْ أَمْوَالِهِمْ صَدَقَةً. Why? تُطَهِّرُهُمْ وَتُزَكِّيهِمْ. Okay. So, take their wealth, meaning that charity in this case. The obligatory one. Zakah. Because في أموالهم حق للسائل والمحروم صدقة. في أموالهم حق معلوم للسائل والمحروم is zakah. Meaning, in their wealth there is a right toward the poor. It's indefinite. It's mutlaq, not muqayyad. If it's indefinite in the Quran, it's actually alluding toward charity, sadaqah. But if it says ma'loom, that means specific. Now it's muqayyad. It's restricted. It's definite, not indefinite. That means it's zakah. In this case, the scholar says your zakah. So khudh min amwalihim sadaqah. And there's a story behind it. I mean, I don't have enough time to go into it, but that's the case for the sin they've created and all of that. So take their wealth. Why? To purify them. And وتزكيهم. تزكية النفس وتزكية المال. And tazkiyah is also multiplied. So the word is linguistically just not to purify them. To do what? To multiply it for them. And to also purify the illness of the heart from being hoarding, greedy, miser, and selfish. And also of those who are not the one who are given the rights of Allah. So the upper hand is better than that. Better hand. The hand that gives is better than receives. So the illness of the heart is actually purified. The more you give, the more you receive. That's what also tazkiyah also means. Okay, so the ibadah, we agreed. Ibadah of salah is the fruit of the salah was the akhlaq. The ibadah was the zakah. The fruit of the zakah was the akhlaq. Let's go to the verse that you hear all the time. The ayah that you hear all the time in Ramadan. Which one? يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم أحسن. Okay, so fasting was prescribed upon nations before you as it was prescribed upon you. Fasting was prescribed upon you as it was prescribed upon nations before you. So you may learn taqwa. So we ask, how do you learn taqwa? As I alluded to earlier on in the first one, from siyam is indeed you can fast in front of people, but you go home, you close all the doors, and the doors you open is the door of the fridge. You don't have it. So I'm just going to repeat that with a little more details this time because I mentioned it earlier on, just in case you missed it, to make sure that you understand how important it is. Okay, so you learn taqwa. Taqwa is what? Akhlaq or ibadah? It's akhlaq. The ibadah is siyam. That's Ramadan. Siyam is the ibadah. But the fruit of the siyam is the akhlaq. So the ibadah, you get it? It has a direct link to the reason, لَعَلَّكُمْ, the illah is there. Why would you want to go to hungry and thirsty? What? For what? So you can learn this. The akhlaq. Okay? Now, as I mentioned to you, remember when you have the, if you've been to Hajj, raise your hand if you've been Hajj. Okay, may Allah grant you Hajj and accept from you that you have been. And you understand that we have something called the human train. That's what I call it. If you've been to Hajj, you know these people actually exist. They will lock arms. And they believe if they lose each other, they go into the black hole somewhere out there and they'll never be found again. So they lock arms. Okay? And they'll bulldoze anybody that stands in front of them. And they will step on you, man, if you fall. But they're very nice. They will say, Subhanalladhi sakhar lana hada, wa ma kunna lahu muqrinin. It's very nice. They actually make the dua as they step over you. You're polite. You're polite. And all of a sudden, you will have things that are driving you nuts. You paid like thousands of dollars to go there, and you were promised, 7 stars, buffets, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, all the air this and the condition that and all that stuff, and you go to Saudi. It's a battle just to get in Saudi, right? Just the airport. Yeah, that's your jihad. And you think that this is, man, Hajj is difficult. Man, you just cleared. You just went through the airport. That's all you know. You haven't done a thing yet. But no, you don't say. Yes. Okay. So you go and you find out that there's no 7 stars and all this buffets and all the stuff you promised. And I paid this guy. Where is this guy? Nowhere to be found. And you want to shoot him, but you can't do it. And then you go, the stars. Oh, you want to count stars? Okay, Muzdalifah, where you're actually sleeping on the ground, you can count all the stars you want. Okay, so you want to shoot people because they're, you know what, even in the, you're losing it by the time the patience is worn thin. So, and then you do the tawaf in the Kaaba, right? People stepping in your feet, nudging you this, pushing you that, and hugging you this, and they're doing the human chain again, and you will have one guy, blah, 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 blah. People behind him, blah, 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 blee, blah, blah, blue, blah, blah, blee, blah, 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 blue. They have no idea what they're talking about, and they tell you why. Because this guy, in the end of the tawaf, he will say, طُبِعَ هَذَا فِي لِبْنَانِ. They will say, طُبِعَ هَذَا فِي لِبْنَانِ. This booklet was printed in Lebanon. This booklet was printed in Lebanon. Allah help us all, Allah. So you'll understand that they're saying things, they have no idea what they're talking about. That they're confusing you because you don't know, you can't even concentrate in your own dua. Yeah? So you'll see so many things that will drive you bananas, man. So what do you learn? Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Al-Hajj ashhurum ma'lumat. فَمَنْ فَرَضَ فِيهِنَّ الْحَجْ فَلَا رَفَثَ وَلَا فُسُوقَ وَلَا جِدَالَ. Ilahi. 3 things are like how? You're like in the battlefield, man. You want to no, you can't do that. No, you can't quarrel here. You can't argue with this one here. No. So let's talk about it. Rafatha, not even beginning of intimate relations between you and your, control now, your patience, right? With your spouse. And then fusuq. فسقت الحبة أي خرجت عن الغلاف. خرجت عن الغلاف. فسوق is خروج. There's a seed that comes out of the cover. That's called fusuq. This is linguistically. But shar'i, خروج عن طاعة الله. So fusuq is coming out of the obedience of Allah. So Allah says, not even coming out of any act of disobedience. Not one. No fusuq. Minor or major. And then he says, no jidal. What? I can't argue with this? We can't quarrel about how much I paid you and you told me and you stepped on my foot? No. When the man steps on your foot, you know what you do? You rush, right? Till you catch him and you step on his foot too. Oh, man, that feels much better. Take that. And on top, there's a bonus. Take that. You can't. So the ibadah is Hajj. What was the fruit? Akhlaq. So you see the trend, brothers? The ibadah has a fruit. And the fruit is the akhlaq. So if you want to become a Muslim but happen to be a student, that's what you have to be abide by. But if you're a student, you just happen to be a Muslim, what's holding you back? What's holding you back, akhi? When your significant other from another mother or a sister from another mister is like, you know, a sister in humanity, for example. I'm talking to the brothers in the language, so you understand, I'll tell you why. You know, comes up to you like a sister, like a tall, blonde, blue-eyed, 36, 24, 36. She goes, hey, big boy. What holds you back to say, Inni akhafullah? What holds you back? Yeah, that's the taqwa you learn. The hadith that keeps you in line. The things that hold you back. Because you're a Muslim that happen to be a student. But if you're a student, just happen to be a Muslim, you will buckle. That's when I talked about shahwat and shubuhat. So shahwat, your whims and desires. That's why the scholars tell you, and I will mention that again tonight, inshallah. If you don't have these two under your belt and under your control, you cannot be up here. You can't. You lose it. If you don't have your shahwat covered and your shubuhat covered, your whims and desires looked after, your lust will be looked after, and your shubuhat don't know even your ABCs about your own deen, you will lose it. The current is too strong. Okay? So what am I asking for now? I'm asking for you to get married early, please. I preach this all everywhere I go. And I'm looking at some of the brothers. I know. We'll talk. Okay. So if you're married, alhamdulillah. If you're not married, and I know that's not, I know some of the brothers are looking, I'm not you know, accusing anyone. I'm just telling you that that's one of the reasons that would be preventative measures. Something that you would be protect yourself. Simple job. For the shubha. For the shahwat. The other one, shubuhat, you have to get to know your deen. You have to stick to the righteous people. You have to be in the righteous environment. وَالَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِينَا لَنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلَنَا. Those who strive in our path will guide them our ways. So you have to do your own. You have to hold on. So I'm going to ask rhetorical questions because I don't really know you. Alhamdulillah, there's an MSA. We have the president here. May Allah bless him. How active are you? How, do you have, I'm not asking answers. I'm just asking you. Do you have a weekly halaqah? If not, please start. Okay? Do you have a team building event where you get to know one another, not just Assalamu alaikum, Assalamu alaikum, akhi. Let's pray, okay, Assalamu alaikum, I don't know you. You're bonding. At least once a month, you have this family potluck dinner. Bring your family, bring your family, bring your family. Brothers with brothers, sisters with their sisters. And then you know what? You know, we get to know one another. You know, I'm married, you're not married, you're single. What are you doing, man? I have a sister, blah, blah, blah. Connection, networking. Okay, your children, all right, my children is this, my children is that. They're raising here, they're going, where they're studying, where they. You always have this network. When they grow, you already know that. What's going on? They're already protected, man. They're under the hood. And that's why I'm going to push you a little bit on the other side to start a school. I'm already telling you what I'm going to talk about. On the other side, I may be shocked for that reason, but that's okay. I'll take it because I don't live here. I can just say what I have to say and take a plane and go. No pressure. Okay. But usually try to do something, to do your best, whatever you are, to help. Yeah? And that's all we can do. Okay. So living in and I've seen, like, don't get me wrong, and this is in the winter. People are very nice here. But I'm sure in the summer, there are much, kasiyat, ariyat. Even in the winter, dude, this is their winter, and they're still walking around with things. You know, I don't know how you do it, man. But if you're not married, okay, you know the answer. Please understand that you don't have that, you know, you don't have that nest on your chest. Let me give you the proof. Okay? I told my son the same thing. I said, son, he's 16. I says, you have 2 years. If you don't find a girl, I'll find you one. Why? Because you gotta go to university. I already know what's going on in universities, man. Okay? It's very difficult to hold on because the sisters in humanity, even if you leave them alone, right? You think they'll leave you alone? They won't leave you alone. Hey, Brother Mo. And I see some brothers, I mean, they stand with sisters, not Muslim sisters, just stand with sisters, like, you know, what's the intention? What's Shaitan say? Give her da'wah. How could a beautiful creation of Allah go to the hellfire? It's your responsibility, Brother Tutu and Brother Fufu, to give Sister Susu a great way of da'wah. So I asked Brother Mo, Habibi, why are you standing with Sister Susu? So, you see, I missed my class, my professor, and I'm taking my notes from Sister Susu. I go, man, Brother Muhammad is over there, man, he went to the same class. He goes, no. You see, Sister Susu has a neat handwriting. Yeah, I know where that's going. Come on, man. So, you know, she's so beautiful, I have to give her da'wah. But by the time you give her da'wah, what do you do, man? You tell her, listen, it's not, Shaitan will come and tell you, it's embarrassing. Don't talk to her in front of people. Tell her to know, we have to talk about it privately. So here's my email. Here's my cell. Or, in person is better. Lunch? No, we're not dinner because it's night, haram. No. It has to be lunch. But lunch not in front of people because we have to be alone. And you can talk about Barsisa and the story of the Wahib and all of these things that will take you there. So if you're here, man, I can tell you, if you're here alone, it's going to be very difficult for you. Please protect yourself. At least stick to the righteous company. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told the best of creation, وَاصْبِرْ نَفْسَكَ مَعَ الَّذِينَ يَدْعُونَ رَبَّهُمْ بِالْغَدَاةِ وَالْعَشِيِّ يُرِيدُونَ وَجْهَهُ وَلَا تَعْدُ عَيْنَاكَ عَنْهُمْ تُرِيدُ زِينَةَ الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا وَلَا تُطِعْ مَنْ أَغْفَلْنَا قَلْبَهُ عَنْ ذِكْرِنَا وَاتَّبَعَ هَوَاهُ وَكَانَ أَمْرُهُ فُرُطًا. Hold on to those who are true believers in propagation and so on. And that's what basically among the few. I know there's more Muslims. I'm not asking them to come. I'm just saying that there are some Muslims that I met that were not involved and so on. And that's what we need to do. We start something that is some kind of a club. Something that we actually need to get them in the round. Not just for the activities, because they all think it's just a chore. No, make it fun. That's the trick. And make learning fun. And make everything fun. And remember, you live out here. So you have to understand the mentality and the message. Indeed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَا مِن رَسُولٍ إِلَّا بِلِسَانِ قَوْمِهِ لِيُبَيِّنَ لَهُمْ. لَمَ لِلَّهِ again, one more time. We have not sent a message except with the tongue of the people. This is the language? No, the understanding, the mentality, the environment. Everything that they're about. So you can do that. Okay. So we talked about shahawat and shubuhat. We talked about the akhlaq, as you are a walking pulpit. And now, let's seal it. So what do I do? And what's my goal? I'm going to ask again, no raising hand. Why are you here, akhi? Why are you here, ukhti? I'm just going to finish with this, okay? Gloves are off. And I don't mean that in a bad way. You can turn a negative into a positive. Okay? So when I usually travel a lot and I talk to the students and so on. But why you're here? I don't mean in Canada. Why are you in university? What are you studying for? Okay, if you have an option, you can raise your hand and tell me why are you here? A brother or a sister, by the way. Can you tell me why you guys are here? I don't mean to make you feel bad, Allah. I'm just trying to raise awareness about something that we may not be aware of that could make it all come together now. Does anybody know why you're here? My dad made me do it, man. They sent me on a plane. They told me, you got to get your PhD from here and get back to your country to serve. Listen, I know I've been there, done that. I've been here for 37 years. So it's nothing new. You're not going to surprise me. But I want to hear from you. And if not, I understand. I don't want to embarrass you. Here's what I usually get. I'm here for a certain reason. One or the other. But how about adding to this list? The list is good. Whatever I heard. But I want to tell you. Why not have a i'ada into ibadah? Why not turn you being here in university into an act of worship? With what? How do you do that? How do you turn a i'ada into ibadah? How do you do that? There's one key word. Allahu Akbar ya ukhti. Good for you. With your intention. That's it. That's why I asked you why you're here. I do the same thing with married couple. Why are you married? Why do you want to get married? Why do you want to have... I'm asking the 5 why. Okay? So the simple fact is, if you are a student, and you're here for a reason, and I know you're here for a reason, I want you to add something on your list. I'm here to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How? To please my parents, to make them proud. Good. To become a good example for Muslims. Awesome. To excel in my education. Good. Why? So I can be the best in my class. Fantastic. So they will be calling Muslims are this. Fantastic. So I can get a better job. Why? So I can earn good money. Why? So I can get a wife. Good. So I can protect myself. So I can protect her. So I can raise righteous children. So I can raise leaders. So I can get the ummah. So I can help this. So you understand? So I can protect it. When I do this, the best money I will spend is that. And even the intimate relations I will be rewarded from. قَدِّمُوا لِأَنفُسِكُمْ. Proceed for thyself. It's the obedience of Allah's command. This is the sunnah of Rasulullah. I have completed half of my deen. I have beaten shaitan. And there's much more. What I'm trying to tell you is everything, not just being here. Why do you go to sleep? To get the strength for ibadah. Why do you eat? To get the same thing. Everything from now on, so the money you're spending and the time you're spending will be ibadah. The knowledge you're spending is ibadah. And please don't tell me ilm al-deen and ilm al-teen. We need both. Okay? Oh, I'm only specializing in this. Good. But I want to be the best Muslim doctor, the best Muslim engineer, the best Muslim lawyer, the best Muslim specialist in this field, the best Muslim media person. That doesn't matter. We have to have this multi-task and multi-niyyah, like the Sahaba used to do that. Tijara. That's a smart individual. That's an intellectual individual. Why do you restrict a great merciful one? No. We need to be much more intellectual as you take your path and turn everything into an act of worship. You get rewarded for everything with your niyyah. And that's what I'm going to finish with here. There's a lot more to share, inshallah. And hopefully you will know now whether you are a Muslim that happened to be a student or whether you are a student that just happened to be a Muslim. If that's the case, please come back and get your real identity. I'll tell you the reason why. You're here to get a piece of paper, aren't you? Sure. Materialistically, you need a piece of paper to say, I got my PhD, my master, whatever it is that you're here for. Okay. So let me give you a quicker piece of paper. When you come to this life, they give you a piece of paper, don't they? Yeah. They give you a birth certificate. In the end, you'll still get a death certificate. Between the certificates, you're collecting certificates. You buy a car, buy a house, graduate, you get married. The most important certificate is the one that you'll never see. It's your death certificate. Because according to that, you will get 99 certificates. It's on sale. They'll take one, they'll give you 99. Every file as far as your eyesight can see. ما لهذا الكتاب لا يغادر صغيرة ولا كبيرة إلا أحصاها ووجدوا ما عملوا حاضرا ولا يظلم ربك أحدا. So you will get a certificate on Judgment Day. These are 99. Everyone is to the horizon. As far as your eyes can see, that's just one. We'll get 99 of these. These certificates, they will not get you to the best Oxford this, and you will not get the job here, you will not get this PhD that. No, this certificate will attain you heaven, or hell. So you will take the certificate with your right hand, or you will take your certificate with your left hand. Worse yet, you can take your certificate behind your back. So you will say, هاؤم اقرءوا كتابيه إني ظننت أني ملاق حسابيه فهو في عيشة راضية في جنة عالية قطوفها دانية كلوا واشربوا هنيئا بما أسلفتم في الأيام الخالية. Here, read my book. Look, Mom, I made it, Mom. Read it. Look, my dog didn't need it. I got it. I knew I was going to need this. Here's your reward, eternal reward. Or you will say, وَلِيَعَذُ بِاللَّهِ يا ليتني لم أوت كتابيا. It's not going to the other side, but you'll understand. I wish I never had my book. يا ليتها كانت القاضية ما أغنى عني ماليا هلك عني سلطانيا خذوه فغلوه ثم الجحيم صلوه ثم في سلسلة ضرعها 70 ذراعا فاسلكوه. So what are you after? That's what I asked you. Money? Power? Guess what? On Judgment Day say, ما أغنى عني ماليا. I hoarded money. I did everything just to get this money. So what's going to help you on Judgment Day? هلك عني سلطانيا. Power and disposition, title, chair, throne. It won't help. So I'm going to leave you with what I started with. Why are you here? Are you a Muslim that happened to be a student, or are you a student that happened to be a Muslim? I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make you a Muslim that happened to be a student, not a student that happened to be a Muslim. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. The lecture is officially over. The floor is open. I will listen to you first, and then I will ask you questions. Okay, so anybody has questions about anything I said? Any ambiguities, whims, desires, lusts, roadmap, intentions? Feel free. If not, that's fine. I hope this was beneficial to you, helped you somewhat. Hopefully you'll take away some things from it. And I usually ask people for one thing. That's it. Even when I teach courses, when I go and I ask the students, I tell them, okay, I'll come to you, Sheikh. I tell them one thing. I only ask of you one thing. And it starts with a C. What do you think I usually ask my students to do? Change. That's it. So all I'm asking you, please make sure that you, as a human being, you came through these doors. Please, when you walk out the doors, you can't be the same. At least take one. I usually ask for 3 takeaways. Okay? But at least, if you don't have 3 takeaways from tonight that I'm going to change in my life, please take one that intentionally, from now, in your heart, I repent about this, I'm going to do this right now, between you and Allah. Yes, Ukhti, please go ahead.
So, as you were speaking about going to school here, even if you're not actively looking for a negative kind of attention, if you're still receiving that kind of attention, that's kind of hard to avoid. If you still need to, well, I guess not essentially, you don't need to go to school here, but if you are choosing to continue studying here, what would you say the best course of action is?
No problems. You know, one verse scares me. I'm not telling you to quit. I'm not asking you to do so. I'm asking you to arm yourself. So, what are you asking? The question says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَالْفِتْنَةِ أَشَدْ مِنَ الْقَتْلِ. So the scholar says, look, I teach this course. It's part of Parenting Matters, by the way. It's in my notes. So I tell the people, if you leave your child, throw him in the ocean, say, swim, baby, swim, you don't have protection for those 2 that I talked about, you are actually doing this fitna, and it's worse than even the death. Because if the child loses his deen and the identity, what's after that? You understand Ibn Taymiyyah rahmatullah alayhi, Sheikh Islam Ibn Taymiyyah rahmatullah alayhi, he says, as a human being, I'm actually alluding to the next lecture, inshallah. I'll talk about details. Allah will ask us about our children before He asks our children about us. You understand, Ukhti? So I hold parents accountable, not children accountable. Yeah? Okay. But I'm doing recovery now. I'm doing like damage control. If you are in this situation. So it's reactive approach, unfortunately. I'm a type of guy that's proactive approach. But at this point, I'm just trying to tell you, listen, if you're in this field here, here's what you have to do. And if you are going ever to think that you as a parent now, you know what it's like, you're going to send your children abroad, because you know what it's like if you're single and you're doing through all this stuff. Not easy, man. Okay. So all I'm trying to tell you, Ukhti, stick around with the righteous company, and stick around in the righteous environment, because Prophet Muhammad said, "Al-mar'u ala dini khalilihi falyanzur ahadukum ma yukhalil." You will be on your way of your comrade. Be careful who you have as a comrade. Again, it's another lecture on its own. But hopefully, did that answer your question, Ukhti?
Yes.
Okay, wallah, God knows best. Anybody else has any questions? Yes, Habib.
About the taqwa.
Yes. Right. منكم نعم.
كانت العبادة عظيمة للأضحية الظاهر.
صحيح.
فإيش ثمرة التقوى هنا؟
Yeah, the brother is asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, لا يرنا الله لحومها ولا دماغها ولكن ينال التقوى منكم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not take the flesh or the blood of that when you slaughter the udhiyah, but what does he do? He says you do it as a taqwa, the thamara, the fruit of the ibadah. That's what the reward for you. That you do it when you actually know that nobody else sees you except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, except He gets that. That's the fruit of the ibadah. Similarly, is the biha, the udhiyah, is the ibadah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is actually telling you black and white, reinforcing what I was talking about, is this is what He gets. That the taqwa minkum. Do you think Allah needs all of this? Doesn't. But once you know that the taqwa is the one, the fruit that He's after, is that's what He gets. But of course the fruit, the luhum and all of that stuff is taqarrub, become close to Allah, and it's the flesh in itself is given to the poor, is not for anything else except that. So that's what the ibadah and ikhlaq reinforced again in that. Wallahu a'lam. That's a question. Wallahu, God knows best. Anybody else has any question? Yes, Ukhti, please go ahead.
What's the extra wisdom take to actually change the laws?
Right. Say, how do you change? Yeah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving you the roadmap, and Prophet Muhammad sallallahu is giving you a roadmap. Look, I used to teach this in corporate level. You know the triangle of change? Have you heard of the triangle of change? Okay, there are three triangles, the three sides of the triangle. The first one is what? One here, the bottom one is called message. The triangle of change actually is message on this side. This side is do what? It's communication. So you have a message, communication, and this one here is reward. I mean, I used to teach this stuff. Okay? But what I have done, in the time that I was in the business sector, I've Islamicized all the training they've given me. That's what I've done. I've done everything. I've received the worldly whatever. I've Islamicized it. Okay. So you need this triangle of change, Ukhti. Okay. So I'm going to explain that, inshallah. And then there is another 5-tier triangle. Now I'm not using the triangle in pyramids because I'm from Egypt. Just happened. That's how they do it. Okay. The first level is awareness. And that's what you need to. You can write it down. It's good. Actually, I'm very proud of the sisters, as this is usually what happens around the world. Doesn't matter where I go in the world, sisters will take notes, and brothers going. You know why? Because you got what I'm talking about? You got it? Yeah, it's all up here, man. Sure. But you'll see, when I ask questions, you'll see who will win. And that's usually what happens. Usually the sisters win. Sometimes the brothers win. Okay. And because of that, the sisters, it's true. They just, you know why? Because we're physically based, they're emotionally based. We use the left side of the brain, they use the right side of the brain. Their left side, the right side of the brain, they're more attention to details. We're not. We look at the bigger picture. We look at things in general. Sisters look at attention, they pay attention to details. So the first line is what? Awareness. Second line is analysis. Third line is solution development. Fourth line is implementation. The fifth line is follow-up. Now, if you really want to take this down, Ukhti, and you really want to change, you have to do what I've just mentioned. So let's see the triangle of change, which is the message. Message is Islam. Simple. Quran and Sunnah. Now you have to get this message communicated. So you need to learn from the ulama, Ukhti. Okay? So the Quran and Sunnah, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent the book, So that's your text. I can speak your language here. You have a professor, that's Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So you got your text, which is your Quran. You got your professor, which is Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And now the waratha al-anbiya, the ulama, the scholars, so we can learn from the Quran and Sunnah, from the authenticated scholars that we respect, that actually, I'm not going to go there, but the ones that actually tell you the proof of things, that here's the Quran, here's the Sunnah, and so on, that they will learn it. And then you need to reward yourself, ukhti, in this life, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward you in the hereafter. Because it's called futur. Futur is, don't go be too hard on yourself, otherwise tusab bil futur. Some of the scholars teaches, our teachers, may Allah bless them, Shaitan will play a trick on you. Right? So you haven't prayed yet for a long time. You haven't done. You've been away. So you know what? I haven't been praying for such a long time. Okay, I'm going to pray all the fara'id and add another farida plus the farida, plus the sunnah, plus the qiyam. And I have to go up to 40 days and I have to change my blood. You have to do nothing of this. Because from a zero to a marathon, you're smoking and you're running a marathon tomorrow, you can't. So that's why they say we gradually change. Okay, ukhti? Alright. So otherwise, shaitan is playing a trick on you. Otherwise, you cannot continue. Stop the futur. It's too much, man, too hard. No. So if you are going to change, let's say you haven't prayed for a while. I'm just going to give you this example. I talked about this online. It takes about 4 minutes plus a few seconds. Just go do it. You can punch in this person's name. Just go do it. I talked about that. So what do? You pray the fara'id only. Now, according to one opinion, that if you don't pray, you're not a Muslim. I'm not debating this fact between Shafi'i and Ahmad rahmatullahi alayhi. Not that's the point. Okay, but pretend that you haven't been praying for a long time. Okay, I was just born a Muslim, man. I heard about it. So you just take a shower with the intention of repentance. Declare the shahada. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. And start praying the fara'id only. The 5 obligatory prayers only. No sunan. No makeup. And I have the hadith to prove that, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Jalla fi'ula on Judgment Day says, is he missing anything? Yes. Give him his sunan to add. Not the fara'id. Give me the sunan. I understand there's debatable between scholars. That's the opinion I follow. I'm not forcing my opinion upon you, but I tell you that I have proof with this opinion. That's it. To make it easy for you. Okay. So I have that one here. So if you really want to implement these things, so you'll understand. Now, I'm not aware of anything, so I need to get the Quran and Sunnah to be awareness. So when I analyze, okay, this makes sense. Now, once it makes sense, the Quran makes sense, that after I've gotten the awareness, I've analyzed these proofs, I'm going to have to do a solution development. Solution development, now I'm going to start, coming back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I've done that. So I need to implement it by doing the fara'id. And what is the more important is to follow up. Okay? So that's the fruit. That's how you change. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells you one verse, one ayah. Is إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُغَيِّرُ مَا بِقَوْمٍ حَتَّى يُغَيِّرُ مَا بِأَنفُسِهِمْ. The proper translation and interpretation of this, that Allah has been good to you. You've been good, Allah has been good to you. You changed. Allah does not change. لَيْسَ مِنَ الْأَغْيَارِ. Yeah, it's you who change. Yeah, you're on the straight path, or you know over there, no problems. Cool. But you will not, Allah will not change unless you change. If you want to change, and that's what the key word here, change. So I mentioned something earlier, those who have to take a stride. وَالَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِينَا لَنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلَنَا. Those who strive in our path, we will guide them to our ways. So it's going to take a little struggle. And shaitan will not leave you alone, ukhti. He doesn't want to lose anyone from his camp. So it's going to take a struggle, and Allah will test you. And by the way, Allah will test you in your weakness. Be careful. Be aware of your weakness, because that you will be tested in. Okay, did that answer your question, ukhti? Fantastic. Anybody else has a question? Please go ahead, ukhti.
Sometimes when students you get to a point where you have to make a decision.
Right.
Just think of general decisions.
Right.
It kind of starts when you become an adult. And then sometimes you're worried about making the right decision or the wrong decision, as opposed to you have to think first.
Right.
Do you advise Muslim students, how do you advise them to make?
Okay. So this is a general question, right? How to make a decision as a Muslim. Again, I talked about this online. I'm giving you references, but you can go back to it again. It's on YouTube. The 4-point method: istishara, istikhara, azm, and tawakkul. If you follow this 4-point method, you will never go wrong. Now you don't know what to do. Okay, so the first thing is istishara. So what is istishara? You consult. You consult with whom? Ahl al-dhikr. اسألوا أهل الذكر إن كنتم لا. Ask the people of knowledge in that field, the experts, but no hidden agendas. Just the people of knowledge that you can trust and respect, that they will give you the truth about this issue. Okay? Now, I usually ask of a simple format to write down on 2 pieces of separate papers. The pros and cons if I do this, and the pros and cons if I don't. That's all. Okay, Ukhti? So once you do the pros and cons, why? Because it's a visual aid. Visual. Not here. I write it down. On one paper, I say the pros and cons if I stay, or the pros and cons if I leave. The pros and cons if I get this job, the pros and cons if I don't get the job. The pros and cons of whatever it is. So once I have made a decision, informed decision now, after istishara, I've heard the people, and logically, I've seen the tangible proofs, I will pray istikhara with pros or cons. Do I go or do I stay? Like on one time. It's not a habit. It's istikhara. And you cannot multi. Because the hadith says, في أمري هذا. This is one, not plural. And it's not singular, not plural. So you've decided to do it, whatever it is, you pray istikhara on that. After, so you've done your istishara, right? But nobody knows what's hidden, and nobody knows what's in the future except Allah. So you pray istikhara. And by the way, the prayer in itself is not compulsory, because it's called dua al-istikhara. You understand? But the scholars, ijtihadan, they say after the salah, you can make a dua. Because after a righteous deed, you can make a dua. And they also ijtihadan, they say, قُلْ يَا أَيُّهَا الْكَافِرُونَ after Fatiha, first one. And ijtihadan, they make in their effort. Today, قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ, the second one, because it's the closest to Tawheed, monotheism. After the 2 prayers, you make the dua. If you don't know the dua, it's in Hisn Muslim. You can download it, it's free. Now if you have a smartphone, and you don't have the Hisn Muslim, the Fortress of Muslim, according to Sheikh Ismail, Hafidahullah, you need to make a tawbah and download the app. It's free, man. If you don't have the booklet, it's free. Download it, please. It tells you all the dua that you need. Protection. It's your protection. Yeah. So now, the name of the app is Hisn al-Muslim. You can actually write it in English. Hisn al-Muslim. And so on. You will get it. Or Fortress of a Muslim. Even then, you will still get it. It's free. Please download it. It will help you for the dua for everything you want in this life. Everything, man. From the time you wake up in the morning, from the time you go back to sleep, there's a dua. Please help yourself. That's why it's called the protection of a Muslim. Don't deprive yourself from that. Okay? Now, once you make the dua, okay, after the tasleem of the prayer, and by the way, you don't have to do this 7 days. And you don't have to open the Quran and point the finger to the first word. And please do not count on dreams. Okay? Because subconsciously, you store information for 3 to 4 days. Whatever you've seen, whatever you heard, whatever you think of, it will come in dreams. Okay? So please don't count on dreams. I'm not just going to discount it. I'm not. But I'm saying don't build your final decision on a dream. What will happen then? Things will get easier, or things will get more difficult. Things will get better, or things will get worse. And you will know the answer. If you know the answer, please don't go against it, because you're making a mockery of Allah. The scholars warn you. If you asked Allah and He showed you, if you don't follow, you will pay a big price in this life and hereafter. 5 minutes. Time's up? Okay. Lastly, if you got the sign, number 3 is determined. Azm. I am determined to follow the sign even if it goes against my whims and desires. Number 4, tawakkul. إذا عزمت tawakkal Allah. If you are determined, put your reliance and trust in Allah. You can never go wrong. I got the time, the brother is telling me the time is up. So I will ask you one question, then we can say who it is, we'll finish. Okay. One question for the sisters, one question for the brothers, and then we'll have to wrap it up, inshallah. Okay. Yeah, you ask Allah to choose what's best for you. So the istishara is you ask the people, and you write things down. After that, you do istikhara, asking Allah, because nobody knows the future, nobody knows what's hidden except Allah. So after istikhara, you're determined to follow the sign that Allah will give you. Either will be good or bad, easy or difficult, and so on. Number 3 is I'm determined to do that. Number 4 is I put my trust in Allah as I can go. Simple. Alright, one question for the sisters. What is the definition of shahawat and shubuhat? What does it mean, shahawat and shubuhat? Okay, do you do budget cuts in time? Okay, so I think we're getting here. Shahawat is our whims and desires, thank you, brother. And the shubuhat is in our deen. Brothers, fantastic, good answer. Tie break, everybody wins. Alhamdulillah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.